might think, with such a talented animation house as Studio Ghibli, that locations like Spirited Away's labyrinthian bathhouse or the otherworldly forests of Princess Mononoke were conjured solely from the imagination of director Hayao Miyazaki. But did you know that many iconic locations in the Ghibli universe are based on real places, in Japan and the world over? Totoro was Ghibli's first to be set in real-world Japan, and so naturally, Miyazaki and the team took inspiration from rural places around the country. The dense forest that houses Totoro is based on Sayama Hills, a lush 3,500 hectare park around an hour outside Tokyo. Miyazaki himself spent some of his childhood near Sayama Hills, and so it has served as a key inspiration for Miyazaki's environmentalist worldview. The forest has been colloquially renamed to Totoro's Forest, and a fund, Totoro's Fund, was set up to protect and preserve the natural area. Inside Sayama Hills you will find Kurosuke's house, a 100-year-old traditional Japanese house, which is reminiscent of Satsuki and Mei's house from the film, and fittingly, inside sits a giant Totoro statue. For an even more detailed version of the house, one can visit the Morikoro Park in Nagoya, Japan, which contains a life-size exact replica. Kiki's delivery service has a far different aesthetic than most other Miyazaki works, with its European setting. Miyazaki himself said that the city the film takes place in, Koriko, is how Japanese people imagine an old European city, untouched by World War I or World War II, with elements of several cities, such as Naples, Lisbon, Stockholm, Paris, and even San Francisco. One side is like the Mediterranean, but the other side seems to border the Baltic Sea. Miyazaki travelled to Visby in Sweden in the 1970s. The trip clearly had an impact on Miyazaki, and we can see snapshots of the city all over Kiki's delivery service. And then again, Miyazaki and his team visited both Stockholm and Visby during pre-production for Kiki's delivery service. Then more specific references can be seen throughout the film, such as the clock tower's resemblance to the Stockholm Cathedral, or this statue's similarity to the many of King Carl XIV Johan of Sweden. The famous bakery where Kiki stays throughout the film is thought by many to be based on a real bakery in Tasmania that Miyazaki may have visited, called Ross Village Bakery. Fans of the film flock to the bakery, which has been in service over 150 years, some 200 per day during summer. Princess Mononoke is based on feudal, samurai-era Japan at the end of the Muromachi period, albeit an alternative version of Japan, with spirits, yokai, and strange gods, or kami. So naturally, Mononoke's locations had to be tinged with magic. Nothing captured this better than Yakushima Forest, situated on an island in the Kagoshima prefecture. The forest contains some of the oldest trees in the world, some over 7,000 years old. The island itself is accessible by plane or ferry, though often planes are unable to land due to poor weather, which has spawned the rumour that only those invited to Yakushima may visit, and Miyazaki himself did visit several times before creating Mononoke. Miyazaki wanted with Mononoke to remind Japanese citizens of their roots in nature and the danger of industrialization, and that the Shinto belief of discipline, respect for nature, and the power of the gods of the forest throughout the film had been lost somewhere along the way. Forests have long been revered in Japanese culture. For many centuries, Japan was mostly forest and woodland, and so those that still exist in modern-day Japan are sacred spaces, untouched by the modern world. Thanks to the film, Yakushima has become an internationally renowned tourist destination, helping those who visit connect with nature once more, exactly as Miyazaki dreamed of. Perhaps the most iconic of all of Ghibli's locations is Spirited Away's towering bathhouse, or onsen. Onsen are popular all over Japan, heated baths and pools from natural hot springs. The one in Spirited Away is inspired by several different onsen, according to Miyazaki himself. Though the Dogu onsen in the Ehime prefecture bears the closest resemblance. Dogu is over 1,000 years old, one of the oldest onsen in Japan. It is said that long ago, egrets used to live in Dogu, and one day, an injured egret who hurt his shin found a hot spring. He soaked his shin every day in the hot water and eventually became well, and all those who followed had their health improved too. News spread and the onsen became popular. The red bridge leading to the bathhouse is seemingly inspired by a 17th century ryokan, or Japanese inn, in the Gunma prefecture called Sekizenkan. The hot spring town surrounding the inn is called Shima Onsen, or 40,000 hot springs, said to also heal 40,000 ailments. Elsewhere in the bathhouse, we find Kamaji's boiler room, which was directly inspired by the stationery shop Takei Sanshodo in the Edo Open Air Architectural Museum in Tokyo. Miyazaki would visit the park, which houses a multitude of historical Japanese buildings, to gain inspiration for his own creations. The bustling spirit town where Chihiro's parents turn into pigs, with its thousands of hanging lanterns and heaving markets, is said to be inspired by Jufen in Taiwan, and you can see why. What used to be a gold mining town is now a hive of nightlife, food stalls, narrow streets, and so many lights. And when Chihiro travels to meet the witch Yubaba's sister, she travels with No Face by train, and along the way she passes ethereal, mysterious train stops that lead out to nothingness. This scene is reportedly inspired by Shimonada Station, in the same prefecture as the Dogu Onsen. The trains here run along the coastline, where solemn views of the Seto Inland Sea go all the way out to the horizon.